Hello everybody, you're very welcome to this episode of Object-Oriented Programming. In this episode we're going to look at the generator expression, which is like a list comprehension or a set comprehension or dictionary comprehension. A generator is like a comprehension, except slightly different. Some books will tell you it's the same thing or it's a fancier type of syntax. There is a technical and very important difference between a comprehension and a generator that I'll explain in a minute. Let's imagine we are, as I mentioned before, processing a large log file. So as we said, every night the technicians run a load of programs and monitor databases and licensing issues and networking stuff, and that generates a large log file, and every morning they have to go through it. So let's say the log file looks like this, and it has debug information, it has general information, it has a couple of warnings, more info, a debug, more info, and a couple of warnings. Reading through this can be quite tedious and difficult, really, and sometimes you miss out that it says the word error in big letters. And even with the warning, sometimes you miss precisely what they are. So let's say we've got a big file, it's a couple of terabytes in size. We want to pull out all of the lines that say the word warning. Seems to me it would work perfectly well if we just did a list comprehension, and it absolutely would. The only problem is when you create a list comprehension, it actually adds every element into a list first, and then it takes out the ones it doesn't want. So if we were to do this on a big file, it'd create a huge massive list and then just cut out the ones we don't want. That's the way it's doing it. Whereas if we use a generator or a generator expression, it doesn't create the big file first. It just finds the ones you want and puts them in a list straight away. So instead of using square brackets or roundy braces, we just use normal parentheses or brackets, and that indicates that it's generator expression. So let's say we have our input file, which is a log file, and we open that and we open an output file, and we are just searching for warnings. Then what we say is, it's the same thing again, return any line for each line in the file if the word warning is in the line. So it's exactly like comprehension. The only difference is the shape of the brackets. So because the brackets are roundy, that means we're not creating a temporary file. So that means we can parse very large files quite quickly. And our output will look something like this. It'll just have all the warnings from the original file. So square brackets for list comprehensions, curly braces for set and dictionary, and then roundy brackets for generators. All of the lines, though there do have the word warning in it, so it would be cool if we could just take out the word warning from that, just because we know they're all warnings, so that seems a bit redundant, and we can do that quite simply using our generator. So if we just have this code where we say warnings is, for each line replace the word warning with blank, and then simply for line in file if warning is in line. That's the way we can do it, no problem, to delete the word warning from each, and then we'll end up with the exact same file, just without the word warning. Again, when we're dealing with very big files, trying to strip out any redundant information can be very important. We could do the exact same thing we've done there in a more object-oriented manner by creating a method for stripping out the word warning. So we could define a method called warnings filter and take in the sequence from the file, and then for each line in the sequence, if the word warning is in the list, replace it with the word warning with a blank. The only interesting or new word we see there is the word yield. So what does yield mean? Well, yield means exactly the same as return does in a normal method. We say return. We return a value back to the calling program. What yield means is return back to the calling program, but remember which line I'm on, and the next time around, process the next line and the next line and the next line. So it temporarily gives control back to the calling program, but it will take it back again and continue on in the sequence. Because as you can see, the yield in this case, imagine that's the word return. the return is in the middle of a for loop. And what we want to do is return back each line with the word warning stripped out of it, but then continue on in the loop. Whereas if I use the word return there, the first time I invoke that command, it would exit the warnings filter method. In this case, the word yield says, push the value back to the calling program, but then jump right back into my program again. And yield is very, very important and used very frequently with generators. So thanks very much. We'll see you on the next episode.